Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments. But before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Greetings. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. This is Tantric Kriya. This is an amazing meditation. It's beautiful, it's blissful, it's pleasurable to practice. Sometimes we feel like doing practices like this takes so much discipline, and there's some definite truth to that. But what it takes discipline is to do it consistently. But to do it once on an evening all together, hopefully you have a nice space for yourself in your home, anywhere. Tantric Kriya is not hard to do physically. You can do it sitting on a chair, sitting on a couch, but always you kind of want to try to be upright. So the couch usually isn't the best for upright. The couch is good for chill. So best to sit on something that has a firmer surface if you are sitting on a chair of some sort, elevating it up. Because you want your sit bones connected, and with your spine, you want one vertical relationship with gravity. This isn't, of course, just for Tantric Kriya. This is for any type of Kundalini Yoga practice. What we're going to do is a series of exercises to circulate the chi, the prana, the life force in the body, feel good. And the thing about a Kriya like this, it's so excellent in transformation of the mind. When we talk about, there's two primary ways in which it works, two primary ways in which mantra works. There's all sorts of context in how you can describe how mantra works, because there's an aspect of it that at least the experience of it feels magical, hard to understand. So we have all sorts of little different models for trying to understand it. And here's a couple points that I found to be true. I learned it as an 18-year-old from the beautiful teacher Eknath Eswaran, how to work with a personal mantra and how to use it on a regular daily basis. And around the same time, took on the practice of Kundalini Yoga in my life as a daily practice, and probably to the best as I know, in well over 25 years, haven't missed a day of doing some type of practice. And almost all of it is at some fundamental level mantra based. So I know lots and lots of yogis been practicing long times that still don't use, or just have never taken on the use of mantra, a personal mantra that one's using in their daily life, which to me is sometimes I find is kind of the most essential thing.
Now, the Kriyas that we're going to work with, like the one that we're going to work with tonight, and the ones that so many people all over the world are joining in this week for our journey through the mantra training. And that's where it can go substantive, and you do develop consistency that way. That's the discipline part. The Kriya itself is not hard. The Kriya itself, the meditation itself, it's with some practice, it's pleasurable. It's more like a love affair eventually. But at first, you're not used to doing it, because we're going to do it for 22 minutes. And especially if you're newer to meditation, or even newer to this type of meditation, that might seem like a super long time. But it's not that long, actually. We do other meditations for longer than 22 minutes, like scrolling Instagram mindlessly. Now, sometimes we're scrolling and we're having a great time and we're finding cool things and we're laughing, and I usually find comedy's the best for like good use of time there. But sometimes it's just mindless, isn't it? And you go into, we all know what those tunnels are like. You get into a tunnel, it's like a meditation, but it's kind of draining the life force. This is going to give you a tunnel that's going to lift up the life force, these types of tunnels. And so at first it is hard because the mind doesn't want to cooperate with the continual repetition of a mantra. It gets bored really quickly with that. It's used to going this way and that way and this way and that way. And the hard part of that, I say it's not hard, but now I'm describing all the ways in which it is a bit hard. The hard part of that is to not indulge all of the mind's different stories and narratives. It's to allow them, but not to indulge them. Allow anything, allow all the feelings, allow all the emotions, allow all of that to be there. Yet why we're using the mantra is to give your mind an anchor so that you don't get drawn away. And it's not that big of a deal to follow the mind's narratives, other than the fact that in this meditation practice, you are concentrating your prana. You're concentrating the life force in your central nervous system, so your vitality goes up and your magnetic energy goes strong. Neutralization of positive and negative charged Shakti, life force. And then when that happens, mind goes clear, open, intuitive. Everything feels good. Self-confidence comes up. Worries finally dissipate. And you didn't change your belief. You didn't necessarily even change anything other than there was a transformation that occurred at the level of your subconscious. So that's the first of the two ways that mantras work. They're not working in the conscious mind predominantly. 95% of our thinking, our behavior, our decision making is coming from our subconscious. So if we really want to improve the quality of our life, we have to improve the quality of the subconscious aspects of the mind. And so there's some ways where our subconscious mind is helpful. That's why we never have to be taught again how to tie our shoes or to how to ride a bike. Thank goodness. We can always enjoy riding a bike. But there's a lot of ways the subconscious mind is unhealthy in just in the same way we tie our shoes and we never forget in other ways how to stay miserable or how to stay anxious or how to stay fearful. And those are non-helpful. And so they're perpetuating the misery, and it's not on the surface. Changing the belief, even kind of that type of cognitive therapy can only go so far. If you look at the research, and there's lots of good research done on Kundalini yoga practices, and it outperforms that type. Not to say that that's not valuable. I'm about all of it. Therapy, fantastic, do it. But there's some things that won't get to, usually. That type of therapy, talking therapy. And so if you look at the research, the Kundalini yoga practices outperform that over and over and again, double-blind studies, It's very helpful stuff. And so the subconscious is the difficult part of the practice, because it's the subconscious that doesn't allow that makes it difficult to be consistent in something, because to be consistent in something new means I'm developing a new habit. And that's hard to do, but once you develop it, now you got the wind behind your sails. So going through a 6-7 week practice, as you're going through the mantra training, and every morning you're doing the meditation that goes along with it, then that gives you enough consistency that you can develop a new groove for yourself, like groove in a record. Trying to kind of sand away the grooves that are keeping me kind of a dick or kind of worried all the time or or a little bit over self-centered, these types of things. There's some types of ways we're a little neurotic, and that's just kind of how we are. We're not trying to be the perfect, sometimes there's a certain types of we're a little neurotic, and it's just what makes us lovable, cute, like all over the place. It's like, can you pick that up, please? And it's not a huge deal. But there's other types of ways where we're making ourselves miserable, and we're also making some of the closest other ones we have in our life a bit miserable. And those I think we should be non-tolerating of, because we want to be happy. And if we want to be truly happy, that's the key ingredient for all of this. The Kriyas will only do so much. First you have to have the number one ingredient, and that's the desire. That's the desire to change, the desire to blossom. Not to change who you are, but to change the non-useful mental patterns that are actually distorting who you are. And thus it unveils the true nature. That's why the mantra is Satanam. Satam, Satam, Sat. Nam is like your real name, your true identity, Nam. But its context is it's a sound vibration, Nam. They say when you vibrate the Nam, it's a way of saying vibrate the mantra. And so the mantras get into the subconscious level, kind of chiseling away is how I always feel it and experience it. Chiseling away at those denser subconscious thought patterns, emoting patterns, deep patterns that they are not rational. They don't respond to rationale. But they can transform. They can be purified. And so the second way the mantra works, very simple. You have your tongue and you have your upper palate. So you go like Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, Guru. When you say Guru, 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 you can feel Guru. You can feel the tip of your tongue striking your upper palate. Wah. Wah is like water, like wah, 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 wah. If you turn a bottle upside down, wah, wah, wah. Wah, hey. Hey is like heat, like the heat of the sun. Guru means light, actually. It's not guru, guru, good, and u. Wah, hey, guru. And when you say guru, tongue strikes the upper palate, and you'll feel vibration between your lips on the u. Guru. Guru. The lips don't touch, but you feel the vibration between them. Lips and tongue, extremely sensitive. That's why when you're kissing, usually before we go to deeper physical intimacy, we start with a kiss on the lips. And that starts to open up the channels. Now we're feeling more relaxed and open, and then it becomes more naturally intimate. But you start with a kiss. Similarly, in the mantra practice, it gives you relief from your constantly thinking mind. What happens is you end up falling in love with these mantras because they've made you blissful so many times. Something makes you blissful a bunch of times, you end up falling in love. And so you start to really like the mantras. And of course it does take discipline, but over time, if you really develop the consistency and learn about it and go deep into it, you'll love it. And to love something that is so tremendously helpful when things are really difficult, the mantra practice keeps the mind from swaying too far in any direction. And then once you start to feel that in yourself, that you got it, even if things are really difficult, then you kind of never lose the sense of basic self-confidence. And even though you might feel like lousy, and sometimes, and then might feel anxious, and might feel a little depressed, you know you're not going to stay there. The problem isn't to feel. The problem mostly is, especially for us fellas, we're not feeling. The problem is when we get stuck somewhere. And this is a way of unsticking the things that have gotten sticky. And then my experience is it's not a process of learning. My experience is over and over again, it's a process of remembering. It's remembering what is. And that's where you have to stop talking about it. That's why we end up writing poetry. How can you explain love? How can you explain the love that you feel? How can you explain the things that you can't explain? So then art is born. So this is about keeping creativity connected, keeping connected to joy. When you have that number one ingredient of you want to be joyful, you want to be really actually happy, you want to be in creativity, you want to live. How would you love to live your life before you die? To get that, to have that want, and then to put to put the catalyst of the Kriya to help to get you as a vehicle like towards that. That's what Tantric Kriya is about. It's really cool. Yeah. All right, we'll do some exercises to start. Okay. So come sitting. Be right up on your sit bones. And let's open the spinal energy a little. Few exercises, then here goes the Kriya. Come with your hands like this. Chest is up, shoulder blades release, and then you just let it swing. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Got my friends here. We're here in the Life Force Academy home studios. We're all doing it together with you. Enjoy. Close your eyes. Listen to the breath. Listen to the vibe. And as the mind goes this way and that way, you're consciously just bringing it back to the point of focus. Really, the meditation has already begun. In that we've begun the journey for this period of time where we're not allowing the mind to simply do whatever it wishes, but we're encouraging it again and again. Oh my mind, dwell on the breath. And then we can realize and feel that the breath as the carrier of life energy, prana, life force, chi. And where your attention goes, the prana flows. So listen to the rhythm. Let the eyes soften down. And if you would, see if you can gently soften your gaze up and in between the two eyebrows for the last 25 seconds as you continue. Inhale to the center. Suspension of the breath as you lift through the Mulaban, rectum, sex organ, and then navel point, up and in. Soft gaze, third eye space for just about 10 seconds, perfectly still. Exhale. Yeah. Already. Pretty nice. Hands on the knees. So inhale, bounce up, exhale, release. Exhaling, let it release. Put the breath is light, but it's deeply rhythmic. And listen to the breath. And softening upper back, neck, shoulders. squeeze up. Exhale, relax. Yeah, pretty great. Okay, now this time stretch your legs out like a V shape. If you're on a chair, maybe can you get on the ground? Just for this one, stretch your legs out wide like a V shape. Flex the feet, inhale center, turn to either side, fold, exhaling down. Inhaling, fill your lungs through the nose, always breathing, unless otherwise we'll say sometimes through the mouth, but always default is through the nose. Exhaling through the nose and then fill the lungs, inhaling through the nose. Not trying to get somewhere your body is not able to go. Don't worry about whether you can reach your toes. Put your sense of importance into the depth of the breath rhythm. Every inhalation, fill your lungs, create a nice rhythm for yourself, and open through gradual softening. Continue rhythm. Devote yourself to your breath. Enough of the mind just always wandering. Find the bliss that appears when the mind finally relaxes. The mind will at first not cooperate. It will resist. But persistence breaks down resistance. That's the law. T-R-Y. Give it a try. Listen to the breath. Sut. Nam. Sut. Nam. Continue. Yeah, inhale, center. Exhale, fold down to the center. Good, relax, shake your legs out. Just a couple more, okay? These are the preliminary energization exercise. Open up the channels. Give you a nice kind of inner environment to work with. Help to, even before we begin the meditation, get the life force centered. Magnetism feeling nice and good. Body starting to feel good. Now you can sit in it. And then you can work with it. It's much easier. Hands like this, Jnana Mudra, index finger to your thumb. Wisdom seal. And we're going to try this breath. It's not hard. You just need to do it lightly, like a rhythm. Like very light to start, like. The exhale, inhale equal. Make it super light and easy to start. It'll get deeper in a minute. To start like this, super light. Now, once you establish that, then you can a little deeper. But it's never aggressive. It's smooth and rhythmic. Inhale. Suspend the breath in. That means keep the breath in, but soften your chest. Then, through your nose, exhale. And through your nose, deep inhale. And once again, here we go. Suspend the breath, soften the chest, then lift the root lock, that's rectal sphincter, sex organ, navel point, up and in. Then soften your gaze, third eye space, gently up and in. Where the attention goes, the prana flows. And then exhale. Yeah, there's nothing to it. We're not trying to make fireworks go off. We're not trying to make something pop open with like sensational energy. It's nourishing, it's nurturing, it's kind of softening, it's opening. All those other mystical things just happen on their own, you know. There's real wisdom in not going after them, I find. And not just my advice, this is kind of the advice of the yogis all throughout time. That's not the centerpiece, you know, the experiences, but rather it's something else. It's some sort of this inner blossoming that takes place. It's the experience of you know, what they say, knowing thyself, you know. What is thy? Thy means there's something else, there's something transcendent. It's not just our limited personality, but there's this kind of great magnificence to be able to experience that does. It's the same magnificence. When you look at some magnificent tree, you don't question its magnificence, but when we think of ourselves, we question our magnificence, you know. So that's what Kundalini is. It's like the opening of your magnificence. And that will express itself as you being very clearly on your life's path of purpose. And you fall in love like that. And that's where real self-confidence comes from. Not from anything that can be obtained, but by actually dropping into the substance that is always there. Yeah, and then, but the paradox is then you will obtain things, you know, because you'll be on the path of Dharma, and that does bring prosperity. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, okay? Unomasa. This time we're going to have the tongue out and like a happy dog. Like when I throw my tennis ball to my dog and he comes back and he's super happy. But comes from down here, navel diaphragm, Jnana Mudra. Soften the chest, let the shoulders drop, but now press the underside of your tongue against the roof of your mouth and press it. Press it. Through your nose, exhale. Bravo. One more round. Inhale through your nose first. Then the tongue comes out. Then try to soften in the chest. Keeps your immune vitality really strong, this breath. It helps clear away melancholy and sorrows. The residue of old sorrow, you know. Some sorrows are present and we must feel them to go through them. But sometimes subconsciously we hold the residue of sorrows that have become sticky, you know, unprocessed grief, these types of things. So sometimes in yoga practice, you might emote, you might have emotions come up. Always allow yourself to feel. Always take care of yourself. But try to keep going. And try not to indulge the narratives that the mind creates around the feelings, but drop down into the body, feel, and continue with the point of focus. 15 seconds, go. Inhale deeply. Now press your under tongue, roof of the mouth, and lift the root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel. Squeeze the muscles of your spine. And press the under tongue, roof of the mouth. Squeeze deeper. Then exhale. And then inhale. Raise your arms up like so. And just shake them a little bit. Just kind of distribute the energy. Yeah? Yeah, good. Nice, relax. Okay, final exercise. Thumbs are out, fingers are tucked in. This 3 minutes, to me, it's like every day. Charge the aura. Inhale deeply. Same breath. Through the nose. Go. Make it nice, deeply rhythmic. Smooth it out like a... At a certain point, maybe the point has already arrived, you no longer wish to do this exercise. Let's see if you can persevere. That pressure that is developed through the asana, through the angle of the arms, with the combination of the breath rhythm and the combination of the soft inner gaze, trying to anchor the mind by lifting the inner gaze up and in, softening between the two eyebrows, and then with the rhythm breathe. And that combination of the breath rhythm, pranayam, the angle of the posture, the asana, and then the drishti, creating dharana, a stream of consciousness into a specific point, creates a kriya. And the kriya is the activity, the catalyst, that can transform a negative into a positive, that can make a dense into a subtle, that can make a rough into a smooth. With the rhythm, breathe, go. 40 seconds, stay with it, no bend in the elbow. It'll feel very good once we're done. Deep inhale through your nose. Thumb tips come touching. Stretch the fingers open wide. Shoulder blades release. Stretch up, up, up. Inhale some more. Stretch up. Touch the ceiling with your fingertips. Stretch through the spine. And then exhale. Release. And keep the eyes closed for a few moments. Not rushing so quickly on to the next moment. And just sit. And allow the body to breathe through the nose, naturally and easy, meditatively. And feel the body, feel its energy. And feel the mind and feel its energy. And what about the body and mind's magnetism? See if the subtle sensitivity to feel its energy. We all have the beam of our mind, and sometimes that beam gets scattered. And if we feel anxious or confused and unclear, and then it's easy to lose track of happiness, lose track of sense of purpose. Or sometimes it gets kind of stagnant and stuck and we feel heavy or depressed. And sometimes life just changes and it's difficult to deal with. And so then the beam of the mind. So if you can always keep the beam of the mind nice and healthy and nice and strong, then you can traverse anything. And that's what this Kriya does. It develops that mental beam. And I find that this is quite a practice, and it's a type of practice that you can really use when other things are not helping as much. Or you can really use if you really have an important endeavor that you're doing and you really want it to be successful. The mantra that it uses, they call reverently mantra of ecstasy. But it's not cheesiness, it's not fluffiness, it says ecstasy. It's like a type of bliss of what they call ananda. And that's experientially based. You have to tap that for yourself. Mantra, see if it's like accurate mantra of ecstasy. Maybe not. You can kind of verify that in one sitting. Usually it takes more. But in one sitting, I think you will experience, if you give it a try. That's the hardest thing, is to really give it a try. It's one thing to sit there and tolerate it. It's another thing to really give it a try and put effort into it and actually try to stay with it. And because sometimes it's actually you're having epiphanies and nice thoughts and stuff, but 7 minutes have gone by since you remembered you were chanting a mantra, and yet you were chanting it. There was also this whole other rainbow happening, and that's nice. But even in a meditation, you're not really grasping onto that stuff. It's acknowledge and back. It's acknowledge and back. Or really difficult things or fears, like acknowledge and back. Feel, acknowledge, back. Feel, acknowledge, back is a nice formula. And eventually, usually after enough time, and we're going 22 minutes, that's not a short amount of time, to try to stay still and steady. So release your knees now. If you haven't, get yourself comfortable now. Have a glass of water now. Because in a moment we're going to begin mantra of ecstasy. Wa, he, guru, 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 wa, he, guru. But we're chanting it 16 repetitions on one breath. It's called chanting with prana. You're inhaling and Guru, wa, 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 guru. Then it goes Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Yeah, so your nice focal point in this meditation is how the tip of the tongue strikes the upper palate. Because when the tip of the tongue, the second part of how these mantras work, purifying as like a thunderbolt through subconscious density, but then through the tip of the tongue striking the upper palate stimulates the different meridians, hypothalamus, pineal pituitary glands, how it's described. How the yogis describe it is they call turning of the lotus. Tip of the tongue's like the lingam, the male sexual organ, and then it's stimulating the female sexual organ, rufa, the mouth, Waheguru, 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 which arouses the Kundalini Shakti at the base of the spine. It's a poetic way of talking about it. Arouses the Kundalini Shakti through the stimulation at the roof of the mouth, and then she rises up in ecstasy and a bliss, and as she meets her mate at the crown of the head, it's called Shiva. So Shakti is the feminine force. Shiva is the masculine force at the crown of your head, and they call it the turning of the lotus because in the yogic anatomy, which is both qualitative, poetic, and highly sophisticated, is called the 1,000-petal lotus. It's because the mind releases 1,000 thoughts, 1,000 kind of micro vibration every unit of time. And so they call it the 1,000-petaled lotus, and they said the 1,000-petaled lotus, the crown chakra, said to be filled with the amrita, the nectar of immortality, and through that arousing of the Shakti from the base of the spine, she reaches the crown of the head, which then the lotus flower turns and drips its nectars through the body of the yogini or yogi. And you feel bliss. You feel in like you're merged with a unified field that we all know. It's the field of love. field of reality, of that which is non-conceptual. It's not rational, but we know it. Love is not rational. So these are the ideas. Or you can say hit the meridian with the tip of the tongue, stimulates the hypothalamus, which then connects to the pituitary and the pineal gland. The endocrines secrete into the bloodstream, and you also feel bliss. You feel lovely. So however one wants to think about it, these are nice models, but they have to be tested and backed up by your experience. Yeah? But I think you will. So here's the posture. You take the little fingers like swords. That's how they say, like curled swords. Your fingers interlace, and they're kind of curled upwards. Your thumbs point away from you, and you just keep your arms. Everybody's arms are like different sizes, so you just keep them relaxed down, but you want to kind of have your fingers pointed at an upward angle, and your thumbs pointed away from you, and palm side facing up towards the sky as much as possible. Okay? And then you try to keep the sit bones down, heart lifted, shoulder blades released, chin ever so slightly in. That's the posture. And for the period of time, you're trying to hold the posture steady. Just do your best, yeah, the most as you can. Inhale deep, and then you start chanting. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Take several repetitions if you're new to it, then it'll happen. Have a soft, light rhythm of your tongue. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Use the breath. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. It's not singing, it's not talking. It's vibrating, chanting. It doesn't have to be loud. But you want your vibration nice. Tip of the tongue, lips. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. And as the mind goes this way or that way, acknowledge. And back to the mantra. Mantra becomes the vehicle that carries you across the thinking field into the intuitive space. Stay with it. As you continue, peek your eyes just slightly open and look down past the tip of your nose. Continue chanting. That tip of the nose gaze will put a pressure on your frontal lobe. It helps the rewiring of the brain and neurology. feels that you can't continue, but you hit a threshold. If at that time you can persevere and stay the course, you'll pass through that. And that's where the real enjoyment will begin. Tip of the tongue. Vibrate the mantra. Suspend the breath. Be totally still, listening to the mantra reverberate. Hold the posture. Exhale. Close the eyes. Inhale deeply. Gentle lift of the root lock, rectal sphincter, sex organ, navel, up and in. Draw the optic nerve into between the eyebrows. And be perfectly still. Hold the position, exhale. And one final time, inhale. And gaze, beam the mind, third eye. And then slowly relax. And keep the eyes closed down for just a moment. Not being in a rush to leave this. Let the breath flow naturally. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Shake the arms a little bit. Kind of distribute the energy through the body. Not about leaving the body as much as it bringing into the body. Beautiful. Have a sip of water. So how you can use this Kriya, yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? But it takes you through something. A good meditation, a good Kriya usually does. It takes you through something. And then you come out the other side like a little bit shiny. And so you can use this, as I was saying, whether it's, I need to use it because I'm struggling, but also I can use it in order to, there's something, some towards whatever my aspiration is. Often people will, probably most commonly, people take on a practice because they're suffering. But it's the rare person that also will take it on because they see the potential. But pain is a much greater, stronger motivator than gain, generally, for human beings. That's true for most all of us. Pain is a stronger motivator than gain, but occasionally that wave of inspiration will come around. And when the wave of inspiration comes, if we've lived long enough, we all know it, that it only comes so often. And so when it does come, it's good to get on your surfboard and ride it, because it's not always coming with such ease. You sometimes work for it. But the reason why I love these meditation practices is because they are very reliable. And circumstances of life are less reliable, but when you can always bring yourself into that zone, and you can always, like for instance, coming up in the coming month, we have, when you get to eclipses coming, it's challenging energy. And so at an ordinary level, that is like non-desirable. But for the individual who has the ability to bring the psyche into its intuitive, neutral power, power comes out of neutral mind. We think always it's like positive mind. Positive is also the opposite of negative. And so just positive thinking is not what this is about. It's about being realistic. And then to discover, could it be the case that reality is bliss, that reality is love? So in between, though, that and my experience of reality is the subconscious mind. And so if the subconscious mind is kind of programmed to produce its current conditions, it can be reprogrammed to produce even better conditions. And that's what the practice is about, but not so much by reprogramming and like, let me build this program, but rather just purifying the obscurations, purifying the density of the psyche is what the and somehow after opens it up and it's like clear light. It's so beautiful. And so what we do in the mantra training is that each week you do a module, but then each day as you're going through the course, ideally, and you can take it how you want, but this is how we encourage people to use the course, is that each day as you're going through the course, you're doing this meditation. Not this particular, you will practice Tantric Kriya in the course, but that's later on. There's a core meditation that you're given. That's my personal favorite meditation that I use, and that you'll be doing each day throughout it, but then throughout the time that you're taking the course. And it's a 7-module course, so it's approximately 7 weeks, but you can go at your own pace. But most people all over right now are starting the first module, or have been in the first module over the last week. And you can get in until Thursday only. And then it closes. But right now it's a really good deal. And you can read all about the modules. In the first module, what we do is, it's called Discovering Your Personal Mantra, and that's the foundation for the whole course. But it's very difficult to work with a personal mantra, I find, and I think most everybody finds, unless you have a practice that you're doing in the early part of the day. Then, as you're going along the day, this use of your own personal mantra becomes like a superpower that you have. You can read, and I would encourage you, if you've been on the fence with this or you're considering doing this training with us, and when you get it, you have lifetime access, even if you can't start right away. If you join in now while it's available, you can start whenever you wish. The second module is called Tantric Sound Yoga, and you can read each one. Module 3 is the Thunderbolt Mantra. It's about purifying the mind and kind of understanding the architecture of the mind. And not in a super heady way, but enough to where you know the science so you can practice the art. And that's the balance. That's why the course is called Mantra, the sacred art and science. It's not just science. To me, it's at least as much art. But to know some of the science underneath it allows you to practice the art in a sophisticated way. Module 4 is the art of deeply listening. It's called Sunya. Then Module 5 is called the turning of the lotus, learning how to open your inner channels of bliss. And then Module 6 is called Sounds of Power, and that's where we go through different mantras, use for this, use for this, use for this. The course is not, here's your this mantra, here's your that. We get to that, but what it is about teaching you how to use mantra, how to work with mantra, how to vibrate mantra, and how to work with each kriyas, because each module gives you a different kriya that you practice with. Then all through it, you're doing your daily practice. So it's a powerful course, I think, in the sense of, perhaps in the sense of, if you actually do what is in the course and you put it to work and you put it into action, potentially the most transformative course that we have at Life Force Academy. So, and it'll meet you where you're at, whether you're a long-time practitioner or brand new. It's pretty accessible. It's a really good deal right now. It's normally $695. It's only $395 if you get in before Thursday. And or you can do, there's a payment plan that's only $145 now, and then you do 2 installments of $145 later. And we guarantee all our courses, we guarantee them. So if you get this course and for any reason decide it's not for you, you let our team know within 60 days and we send you a refund. They're really great. We do that. We can do that because they work. We stand behind them. We put all our energy into them. We put all our creativity and resources into making these great. And so if you feel inspired, I encourage you to do it. In fact, what we've done is a way to just try to really make it irresistible to get in there. You can see, and we've provided all this for you. I do encourage you, if you're feeling it, read about the modules, read kind of what's in here. We did our very best. It's impossible to really describe what this is. Just like how would you just describe what you experience in Tantric Kriya? You can't. But we did our best to really kind of display for you what this course is and what it's about and what's in there. But if you get the course before Thursday, then there's a bonus gift you can read about and you can see all about it. We're giving a second course for you as a gift, and that course is called Kundalini and Tantra, and it's a great course in and of itself. And these are just, you have them in your library. You don't have to do them now. You have access to them. I don't want to spend time telling you about that one. You can read about it. It's beautiful. It's potent, it's deep, it's mystical. It features music created while you're practicing from some of the musicians you heard tonight in both of the musical pieces. So there's a lot of cool stuff here, and I want to invite you to jump into this if you're feeling the call. If you want to do something wonderful, take you through the next weeks and month and not feel lousy, feel really good. Even if things are lousy all around us sometimes, we can still feel really good, stay connected, and make it deeply meaningful. Then try this mantra course journey. It's amazing. And that's all available to you. Super easy to register. It just takes a moment. We have a great team. If you have any questions, just shoot them an email. They'll get right back to you. And thank you so much for being here and participating in this evening. I hope you enjoyed and found good use out of it. Let's seal our practice together. Take the little friction on the hands. Take the hands into the prayer mudra. And give a good wish for your life or your loved one. Thank you so much, everybody. Satnam. See you inside the mantra training. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you, everyone.